And this one was also hot from the last global economic outlook we did, was the Bitcoin. And so just because Babati is here, I need to pull him out on it and pull Debo or Philip, whoever wants to jump on this one, because of the recent dip. And this dip has been a funny one because I've seen on some of the fintech platforms, their Twitter handles, and you hear some things they say like, have you protected your rent? Why are you still worried about dip and all of that? I thought it was a good time again just to hear you guys' opinion, because the last time we all as a panelist felt like if you don't understand the economic factors driving any stock, any investment, then you don't do it. You have to understand what's driving it before you get involved. And we also have participants who have had experiences with Bitcoin, and they share their own opinions. And yeah, they insisted on the same thing. It's risky. You need to know what you're doing. But the recent dip, the recent regulation is also something to look at. And I just wanted to get each person's opinion or thoughts on where you think we are today on Bitcoin. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I can go.
I will come later because I'll be controversial.
I will just take it back to where we ended the last time, where we, like you said, most of us were like, we don't understand it. There's no fundamentals behind this. So, and it's exactly what happened, where we believed someone was trying to pump the market up, and eventually it came up with a different statement, and within a couple of days, there's a big crash. I mean, it's just exactly what what crypto is about. It's about feeling, it's about what somebody feels and what somebody says. And I can just cannot imagine me feeling like a millionaire one day and the following day, my my total asset is half just because someone tweeted. I mean, it just doesn't make sense to me. And that position, personally, that position has not changed, that I do not believe in crypto. Well, of course, the person that was making people believe that there's a future in it, that, okay, it will be the currency for trading, is backing out now. It's using climate change as excuse to say, okay, we need to back out of it. And I wouldn't be surprised if the guy had sold his Bitcoin before making that announcement, because that is the strategy that someone could do. You pump it up, you sell it, and you say, no, I made a mistake. Now the poor guys are the ones losing because he had made his money and backed out of it. I would not be surprised if that is what he did, because the guy has history or something like that, to be honest.
And just to say, Debo, 25% of Tesla's profit actually came from Bitcoin. And I was saying that if you look at the quality of earnings, you normally should make money from your normal operations, at least. Anything that comes from your core, outside of your core operations, at least should not add so much. But yep, the sale of Bitcoin for Tesla in the first quarter contributed about 25% to their profits, which for me is suspect, especially when you look at some of the things that have happened before then. First was approval for it, and then you say, oh, okay, it's now the main thing. Is it saying now that he doesn't know that the climate, it's affected by climate, or that the climate change is going to affect all that? I don't know what his stand is, but much more right now is that I also have a feeling that even the countries are going to probably totally displace Bitcoin. Don't quote me yet, but I feel that because China is coming out with a digital currency now, which they are going to call e-yuan, I understand the US is considering something similar. What I know of these two countries, they are not going to be competing with Bitcoin for in a space if it has to do with the digital currency. They will probably just find a way to get them out. It will rather be a battle between the US and China and probably Russia, and some of these other countries, but that they would be in competition with, these other names, I don't think so. And whenever something is moving by virtue of just feelings, somebody says this today, then it goes up, then it goes up, and then it doesn't make any meaning. And I don't think anybody should still be exposed to it. I know, yes, there are risk takers. I know, yes, there are people who love to gamble. And except you gamble, except you're a gambler, I don't actually think you should be anywhere around crypto. So my stand also hasn't changed like Devo. It's just the same way still.
Okay, so I guess I will not be that very controversial. But first and foremost, I think this is a platform for education. So I think we should start from the basis first. So what is cryptocurrency, or the way they are shouting it? Let's just put it normal game town view. They just want to have the currency digitally. So today, let's relate it to Naira. You have coins, you carry notes that shows Murtala Mohammed, you carry notes that shows Awolowo. So what cryptocurrency is basically saying is, or what the digital currency, the way I would like to refer to it, is saying is, don't carry those notes and coins again. It will be digitally stored. Bitcoin is just a means of, it's another subset. Somebody driving, so if somebody is driving it, the guy has named it Bitcoin. Another person will come again trying to drive that and name it another name. Let's just make that simple. I think the fundamental for me is, are you investing in Bitcoin as a currency, or are you investing in it as an asset? And I think Deborah and Philip can help on those, between those two. So it's like coming to tell me that I should buy Naira as an asset. How do you buy Naira as an asset now? Where do you get it from? What job is the Naira doing that will bring income? So for those who are buying this currency for purpose of an asset, is where the wahala is. And that's where somebody will wake up tomorrow, depending on how he feels, the asset will feel that way. If he feels very well, the asset will jump up. If he feels very bad, the asset will go down. Will there be digital currency? I think the states will promote digital currency. And I think that's what Philip is referring to. So you will have digital currency in the US where the dollars will be denominated. So you'll not be getting the physical notes, but your value will be stored digitally. So if I have $1 million, they don't have to come to my house and see the physical $1 million counted in notes, because there's a lot of savings for them on that aspect. Ability to print those notes, security notes, and all those things will be disappearing because you can have those things digitally. So I see the big powers, I see most of the central banks having digital currency. That's a currency that is being issued, that is being backed by the state. You can hold somebody. Who will you hold if this Bitcoin fails? Who is backing it? Who issued it? So if you are doing that investment for the purpose of an asset, I wish you all the best. I can only bury you when the time comes. Let me put it that way, if you die of heart attack. What is happening now? So it should not be used as an asset. It's not something you go and invest in and say you are buying Bitcoin at $1 now, then you are hoping to get to $10, then you will sell it. It's not an asset to be traded in, my own opinion. I'm not an economics, but that's the way I recognize it. But will the central banks all fund digital currency? The answer is a yes, where you can store those things digitally. That's where fintech comes into play again, on those ones. But if it's an asset that you are doing kalu on, and you are hoping that you will buy it at $10 today, and tomorrow it will jump to $20, I wish you all the best. I belong to the category of Debo and Philip on that one. Thank you.
And actually, just to add to what you just said, like countries are going digital. I think Sweden is a perfect example. A kid born in the last 5 years in Sweden doesn't even know what money looks like. They are completely cashless already. And a lot of countries, I believe, will go in that direction. And what will make it really against Bitcoin and the likes is the fact that, like you have said, those will be backed by the regulatory powers of those countries. There will be legal tenders. As of today, I don't think Bitcoin is a legal tender anywhere. It's just what people are saying all around, that it's making it like a currency. At least a currency should have legal tender from somewhere. Naira is Nigeria's currency. When we go digital, that becomes our currency. And it will be traded against other currencies. I don't know what Bitcoin is trading against. I don't know who regulates it, or there's no regulator at the moment.
Okay, thank you for that, Stable. So now I want us to move into the final part of our discussion today, which will touch on personal finance. And then I have an interesting question which came from the conversations we had around fintech, especially as Babati talked so much about why this industry is attracting a lot of capital now. And so I have a question, so I'll paraphrase. So basically, as an individual, how can I foresee the opportunity and don't miss out? So, could it be that I position myself as an angel investor? And if that's what I want to do, where do I even go to find the right startup? What should I be looking at to look at opportunity to invest? I know, Philip, you call this more like private equity. So I don't know who's going to say something about that. There are opportunities coming up in fintech, and like you rightly know, a startup, it might create room for private investors to also put some money in there. So how do I identify these opportunities? Where do I even find them? Where do I start from? So we don't miss out. That's the question. So I paraphrased it.
Okay, I'm sure Babati will talk a little bit more on this because he's there already. But I think, of course, it's just what happens on a daily basis. It's just to be able to identify what problem, if there's any problem around you that you think can be solved in a systematic way. Basically, right now through financial technology. So if there's anything in your mind when it comes to maybe risk, maybe when it comes to probably making payments or credits easy for people to access, I think those are the opportunities. Yes, like you rightly mentioned, it's called private equity, private debt. So you have to look for somebody. You can even be the one with the idea. You might not have the technological know-how. You might not have the technical skills to bring it. That's why partnership works a lot more when it comes to these things. You have the idea, you know how this thing should work. You identify the problem, you see that, oh, okay, I think this can be like this. Then you can discuss with the technical person, and then you work together with your idea and with the technical skills of, anyone who is there, then you can work together to get it going. So I think that's what's important, identifying the problems and, then working out from there.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Babati, do you want to say anything?
Okay, yeah, I agree with him. And most importantly, it's the problem we have in Nigeria, and I will state it without fear of contradiction, is the fact that we want to invest today and we want profits tomorrow.
Mm.
Anything outside investing today and getting profit in a year's time, most people are not interested.
Mm.
Go and look at all the companies that have been successful. Go and look at all the entrepreneurs that have been successful. It's a journey of 5, 10, 15 years. So it's not something you put in today, it's for the long haul. So you have people today who are setting up businesses, and the first thing in their mind is to say, no, I'm not setting this business up to make profit. I'm setting up to create value and then sell it up to those who can bring in money. And then we have this mentality in Nigeria. We want to own 100%. Owner, founder of this. We want to own it 100%. No partnership, as Philip rightly said. Absolutely not. You want to own everything. You don't want any partnership. Then you can't scale up.
Mm.
So first and foremost, the paradigm has to change to, I want to start a business. I have this idea. This is where my strength is. So it has to come from a self-awareness first of what your strengths are. Where do your strength lies? And then who else do you want to partner with across the divide in birthing their ideas that you have? So if you are having a good idea, you are not good in the logistic aspect. So you look for somebody on the logistic aspect that can partner with you and bring investment into whatever you want to do. So the key challenge is first and foremost to change the paradigm. So you have somebody who wants to go into real estate, build and sell, and he's waiting to get 100 million before he starts the build and sell. And in his entire year, he might not save, that idea will die with him. Rather than him looking for another 10, 15 friends or 20 friends and say, can all of you all bring 5 million and start? And then you do the first one, 20 of you, 100 million. Then you scale it down to 10 of you after the first or two profit, into 10 of you, 10 million. And then you scale it down into 5 until you have the capacity to do it alone. The paradigm and the education, in my own opinion, is what needs to fundamentally change first before we begin to look at those things very well.
Thank you very much, Babati. Thank you for that. And so, Devo, over to you for just a brief touch on managing our personal finance. And then
and I think what we just talked about is something I would like to add as well, which leads to personal finance. I'm not sure if the person that asked the question used the words that you used when you brought the question up in terms of fear of missing out. FOMO is a big pitfall when it comes to investment, where you see something trending, everybody is doing this, and the fear of missing out, you jump into it. That is a very easy way for you to lose your money. And I think that's one of the ways people have jumped in all these pyramid schemes where, they say, somebody's making quick returns, 100% return in 2 weeks. Oh, am I going to miss out? Then they jump on it. So even with fintech, yes, it is bubbling. There's a lot of investment going into it. But the reason to go into it should not be the fear of missing out. It should be the fact that you have studied the industry, you speak with people that are in it already, you understand what you're getting into, and then it will be a way to get into it. That's my thought on that.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Devo. So that brings us to the end of today's discussion. I'm going to check if we have more questions, then I'll take it. But it looks like we're fine. So just final words from the panelists, then we call it a beautiful day. Philip, can you go first? Just final words to share, then we'll call it a day.
Well, of course, it's been an interesting time once again. I guess we've all learned a lot, especially about the African continental free trade area. And of course, we look again at the Bitcoin. This position, of course, of some of us still remains the same. And of course, events have not proved us wrong, which means that, of course, everything should be backed by some fundamental reasoning. And if it is not, then it calls into question the main thing itself. It can't be moving by virtue of feelings. Nothing moves by that, especially not investments, not anything that has to do with making profits should actually be by virtue of feelings or, and something that you have to look at recently again is AMC. You remember AMC and GameStop, they had that, they were pumped down by Reddit investors earlier in the year. And recently, in the past week, AMC also has been experiencing that surge again. So it's been up and down, and again, you have to look at it. What's the reasoning behind it? Is there anything driving it? Is there any reason why I should go into it? So I think it's just the questions, the necessary questions that are important, not just for stocks, for any kind of investment. Just like Devo said, it's not just about following the money. Following the money can lead you into trouble too. Just look at it and see that it is actually what can bring about some viable returns in future. So that's it from me.
Thank you, Philip. Devo, final words from you as we call it today.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've learned a lot about the fintech in Nigeria, thanks to Babati. It's a great experience to learn about that. Thank you. Also, my final words on the Africa Free Trade Agreement. I think what we also benefit Africa largely would be value addition. A lot of things that we produce in Africa and we send out are in their raw form. And in their raw form, the prices are lower. So we send them out and then we buy them at a higher price when they are processed. So if Africa as a whole can look into value addition, tapping into the value chain or along the process of everything we manufacture, I think that will really bring value to the continent as a whole as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Debo. Babati, final words from you.
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to thank the organizers for inviting me. I'm highly honored. Secondly, I want to say that I enjoyed my time, and I hope everybody on the platform to enjoy their time. I just want to say that the market is huge. The opportunities are many for both the investors and for those who are creating value. You just need to be sure of where you want to play in. And for those who want to play in as entrepreneurs or as investors, please look at long term. Look at long term, don't look at short term. At the long term is where the value actually is. So if you invest $1 today and after 4 or 5 years, you're getting $25, it's a long-term way. So don't begin to look at immediate gains as what you want to look at. And for me, again, what I would like to say to the young people is know your friends. The ones you went to school together, the ones, you guys put resources together. You can begin to do things together. I engaged an 18-year-old, and the way he engaged me on what he was thinking about how the e-payment should be, with a little bit of guidance here and there, he will do exploit because the ideas are there. So it's important, again, that people have ideas and they know who to run to be able to nourish and work on those ideas to become realities. When you dream and those dreams don't come true, they don't. It's only when it comes true that they translate into money. Well, ask the Microsoft of this world and all the people of this world that are making it with the Jeff Balls, and that dream has to come true. If it doesn't come true, it doesn't become money. So it's always better when it comes true. And please don't be afraid to share it when it comes true, because it might be too much for you alone. And the earlier you share it, the better it comes true, actually. That's the honest truth. The earlier you share it, the better it becomes true. That's what I have to say for everybody. And thank you, everybody, for listening.
So thank you so much for that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us at this second live event. I've personally had a good time with the panelists. Babati, brilliant man. And it's so good that you honored his invitation and you joined the discussion today. Philip, as usual, you have our support, we have your backing, and I think you're doing well. Thank you so much, Debo, for also joining. Thank you for everyone with us on Zoom. For those who are watching on YouTube, thank you so much. If you still have questions or thoughts that you want us to touch points on, please feel free to respond to the email invite you got. The details are provided. Philip, you could just please drop the general email address in the chat room too, so our viewers can also reach out to us if they have any questions. Please remember, like we always say, most of the thoughts shared on this discussion, they're personal opinions, that are perspective based on our own experiences of the local market or how we view the global economy. At the end of the day, each person has to do their personal research. You have to ask those difficult questions and look for the answers for them to make your own decision. Latching on to what Babati said, it's a long game. If you play it short, then the benefits might really be near zero. But if you take a long-term position and you do your research properly, and you're paying attention to your personal finance, you're paying attention to your social habits, to the way you look at things, and you're asking for guidance, you should definitely make better money decisions or better investment decisions. So I'll say we've had a fantastic 90 minutes and we kept to time, and that is so commendable. Thank you so much, everyone. And we'll see you at the next discussion. Take care and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys. Bye, Babati.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Philip, bye. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Pepsi.